Hello, welcome everyone to our webinar today. My name is Bill Lamberton. I'm with Classic Canadian Tours. We're a Calgary-based company that takes people to quick and efficient tours to little corners of Canada that are a little off the beaten track. Today we will be presenting our two-day tour up to Churchill in the summertime, so to tour the wonders of Churchill and the Hudson Bay. We have two trips from Calgary this summer to explore the Churchill area. One is departing July 3rd and returning on July 4th. Second one goes back right away the next day on July 5th and returns July 6th. The price per person is $1,539 plus applicable taxes, and that's based on double occupancy. There is a small surcharge for a single supplement based on a one-night stay. Commission is 10% on the base price. The summer tour to Churchill is a delightful two-day package. We cover off a lot in our 2 days. We charter a small regional jet. We take 50 passengers directly from Calgary to Churchill. Flying time's about 2 hours and 10 minutes. We arrive there the morning after we leave Calgary from a private departure lounge. We have a hot breakfast on board the flight and a naturalist presentation. Then we're into our hotel in Churchill. And most meals are included. We have a couple of lunches that we leave for folks to try a couple of different restaurants in the little village of Churchill. And of course, there's a guided whale watching and a cultural and natural history tour as part of our core product. We explore the Parks Canada Fort Prince of Wales, which was the original trading post. And then we have some optional tours in the evening. We have snorkeling, we have kayaking, we have dog carting, and we have the midnight sun, which allows us to take a full benefit of that time of year where we can do our evening tours late into the night and perhaps catch a little aurora borealis at 3 in the morning if your clients care to do so. On board our webinar today and on all our flights is our company naturalist, Les Tegenga. Les has studied up in Churchill and spent a lot of times with the summer wildlife as well as the polar bears in the fall. So Les is going to give us a little presentation on detail on what we'll see. Take it away, Les.
Greetings, everybody. As Bill mentioned, this is our third year of this, and it's an incredible, exciting opportunity. But first of all, where is Churchill? Well, as Bill said, it's only about a 2 hour and 20-minute flight from Calgary on the shores of Hudson Bay, and you can see the town of Churchill there. And why is it such a great area to go in the summertime? Well, there's lots to see. First of all, we're going to be taking people away from the prairies and the mountain habitat into the northern boreal forest and into the tundra. And out of the plane, as we approach Churchill, they're going to see some unique formations called frost polygons, all because of the permafrost underneath it. We are just on the edge of the northern boreal forest here, so it's completely different habitat. There's about 5 different ecological zones here, lots of wildlife, marine wildlife, land wildlife, and it is very rich. So also, as we fly into Churchill, people are going to see the Port of Churchill. This is Canada's most northerly terminal for shipping grain, and behind it is the Churchill Estuary. That is where the beluga whales gather. When we land in Churchill, everybody wants to see what the town looks like. We're going to be just stopping briefly. Everybody does a little selfie at the town. Churchill is noted for a lot of things, and as you know, and those who've traveled with us before, it is also the polar bear capital of the world. We are going now in prime time beluga season. So why do the beluga whales gather in Hudson Bay, and especially in the Churchill River? There's an estimated population of about 60,000 beluga whales in Hudson Bay. And every summer, when the waters warm up from the different rivers, the Nelson, the Seal, and the Churchill River, they come in to shed their winter coats. It's actually their fat layers. The females give birth to their calves. They feed on capelin. And so there's an estimated about 3,000 beluga whales that come in. And the operator that we're using there has a really nice, stable boat. You can see it there to the left. And we will cruise out into the estuary looking for beluga whales. Very stable seating, and he's got a little speakerphone on there that he can do some commentary. And the other unique thing that he has added is he has a hydrophone. And we will drop this overboard when we see whales. And this picture illustrates that these beluga whales are not intimidated by the boats. In fact, they're drawn to the boats. They seem to like the wave that's created by the noise of the engine. So when we drop a hydrophone down, you're going to hear lots of chirps and beeps that these whales make. They call them canaries of the sea, and for very good reason. This is just a view from the whales as they accompany the boat. And just a view of the whales swimming behind the boat. There's lots of marine life around there as well. These are ring seals and harbor seals in the area. There's so much in the Churchill area to see that we've extended this trip over 2 days, because we also want to, on the day that we're seeing belugas, we'll also stop at Fort Prince of Wales. It's across the river from Churchill, and so there are very few people to see it. This incredible historical site. It was built in 1731. In any other city in Canada or in North America, this would be a standalone tourist attraction. It was built in 1731 by the Hudson Bay Company to protect their interest in the fur trade, which included about 1/5 of Canada's land base. And in 1771, the fort was taken by the French without a shot being fired. But in the meantime, there were many important Canadians who traveled out of here: Samuel Hearne, Frobisher, Thompson, all names that resonate with Canadians, all started out of this fort, and they started to explore Canada from this fort. There's a short walk from the river, and it gives everybody a good eye view. It's only about a 10-minute walk, but Parks Canada has refurbished this fort in 1934. And here is one of our guides illustrating the different types of cannons that were used. A viewpoint from the fort walls. This is a very interesting picture. This was taken by one of the stonemasons, 1733. And he carved his initials on there because the stonemasons were paid by the amount of stonework that they cut, and for the paymaster, they could illustrate which stones they placed in position. And then we would head back towards the town of Churchill and look at beluga whales. What we do is we split our group up into two. There's only 50 people are lucky enough to come up with us. The first group goes out to see the fort and the belugas. The other group goes out and does a cultural and natural history tour. The next day, we swap them around, so everybody gets to share the same experiences. So Churchill is influenced by the Inuit that live north of this area, and also the Dene that were historically in the area. We get to walk on our spare time through the town of Churchill. Very few shops at the end is highlighted by the grain terminal, but it's probably a chance for people to experience a northern community and what it's like. They have a very short summer, perhaps 6 to 8 weeks at best, and so to see it in the summertime in great light, as Bill said, in that midnight sun, is just a wonderful opportunity. There's lots of wildlife in the area, such as the snow geese. This is a gyrfalcon, a whimbrel. There are lots of migratory birds here that come all the way from the tip of South America all the way up into the Canadian Arctic for a very brief but very productive birding season. And we're going to go in July. There will be still lots of migratory birds around. So if your clients are interested in that, it's a perfect place to go. There's also lots of resident wildlife here, such as this Arctic fox. While we're on our cultural and historic and natural history tour, we're going to be seeing some of the different ecosystems. There's two right here. There's a marine one out there where we saw the beluga whales and the seals, and then now we're going to see a coastal environment as well. There are lots of shorebirds, very interesting geology. Back there, those rocks are about 2.5 billion years old. Further inland, we're just at the edge of the tree line. People are going to see what a northern forest looks like. These are just very small, slow-growing trees that are about 200 years of age, all underlying by permafrost. Historically, the military used Churchill, and they used to shoot rockets into the atmosphere. There on the right is the Black Brant, of which about 2,500 were shot into the atmosphere to study the effect of the aurora borealis on radio signals. We're also going to stop at the polar bear holding facility. This is a polar bear jail, believe it or not, that they set up in the early 80s to protect bears if they came into town. Instead of being shot, they are now housed in this facility till the ice can form, and then they can be safely flown out to the ice to avoid any disruption with the human settlement of Churchill. There's a great museum in town. A priest in the 1940s started collecting Inuit art, and there are pieces in here, without exaggeration, should belong in the Louvre. But fortunately, we still have them in our backyard. The accommodation that we have is the best in town. It's a very rustic lodge called the Lazy Bear Lodge. They have great meals, and I highly recommend the berry sauce that they make from local berries that they drizzle on the salads there. It's top notch. There are optional activities that Bill was describing. In the evening, when the tide is right, we can do a kayaking trip. There's also opportunity for people to snorkel, and there is also a tundra tour that is available during the day. But the highlight, of course, are the beluga whales, and we will be coasting out on this very stable boat for any client from young to old under great conditions to see an incredible jewel just a few hours from Calgary. Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you.
Hi there, it's Bill again. Thanks, Les, and thank you everyone for joining us today. You know, here's our coordinates, how to get a hold of us. We do have sales sheets available on the beluga whale product. I know a lot of you perhaps have booked us on our polar bear product. We don't talk a lot about polar bears in the summer visit to Churchill, Manitoba, because it is not polar bear season. There is a chance that we may see polar bears, but if your customers are wondering about polar bears in the summer, it's not likely that we'll see them. But we do have another webinar coming up later in the year with all about our polar bear trips in October and November. So cheers, thanks for joining us, and hopefully this will help you with selling our product. Bye for now.